see everybody. Wow, there's a crowd. Oh, yeah.
But the slot after that was open. It's only $80.
We'll get back. We're just changing out your bed, or else you can go over.
I left him you joke about retirees and how many retirees this takes change his life on. He said just one, but it might take all day. And then I told him I think now you have to get on Facebook so you can keep exchanging jokes.
Good evening. Welcome and thank you for attending the regular meeting of the Board of Trustees of Little Elm ISD. Today is May 21st, 2018, and the time is 6:30 p.m. We will call to order. At this time, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The Texas state flag.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you. You may be seated. At this time, we'll do introduction and roll call, please. Ms. Padilla.
Mr. Daniel Gallagher,
Present.
Mr. Ben Blackway,
Present.
Ms. Leanna Harding,
Here.
Mr. David Montemayor,
Here.
Ms. Melissa Myers,
Here.
Mr. Jason Olson,
Here.
Mr. Deleon English.
Present.
And not present, Mr. Alexander Flores.
Thank you. We'll now do the administration of oath of office to the newly elected trustees.
Move on.
Mr. Olson,
You go first.
I,
Jason Olson, do solemnly swear that I will faithfully execute the duties of the office of Little Elm ISD Board of Trustees of the state of Texas, and will to the best of my ability preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution and laws of the United States and of this state as a humble God.
I,
Deleon English, do solemnly swear or affirm that I will faithfully execute the duties of the office of Little Elm ISD Board of Trustees of the state of Texas, and will, to the best of my ability, preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution and laws of the United States and of this state.
Thank you, Ms. Padilla. Congratulations to you both.
Thank you.
Welcome back for another 3 years.
Yes. One time. Get ready, me.
All right, next up, approval of minutes. I need a motion to approve the regular board meeting minutes from 4:16 and the special board meeting minutes from 4:23.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any questions or changes, discussions?
No.
No? All right, all those in favor, please raise your hand. Any opposed? Motion carries. We will now move to Superintendent Spotlight. Mr. Gallagher?
President Myers, board members, at this time, I would like to invite Mrs. Renee Pentecost, principal of Little Elm High School, up to the podium to introduce our students of the month from the high school.
Thank you, Mr. Gallagher, board. Once again, I'm honored and thrilled to be here this evening to introduce you to some of our awesome students at Little Elm High School. The students that we're recognizing tonight are all seniors, and each received an award at our senior awards this past week that we call Principals Awards. There's 3 different categories. One is for leadership, one is for citizenship, and one is for spirit. So at this time, I would like for these students to join me up front. Martha Paz. Hazel Ibarra. Shane Rhodes. And Carrington Jones. I'm going to start with our award winners for leadership. We actually have 2 award winners, and that would be Martha Paz and Hazel. Come on up, Hazel Ibarra. These 2 young ladies have served as co-presidents of our DECA organization this year, and this is what their DECA sponsor, Mr. Hutley, wrote about their leadership. They have been leaders in DECA, teaming as competitors for 4 years, co-vice presidents their junior year, and co-presidents this year. As a team, they complete each other with highly complementary skills. They worked on the fashion show for 4 years and ran it this year as co-presidents of the Fashion Club. Hazel will talk to anyone, and Martha will make sure what is being said happens. Their positivity and enthusiasm made many other students join DECA, even if they had no interest in business or marketing, just because it looked like something fun to do. So, Martha, there's yours. And Hazel. If Martha and Hazel's parents are here, I would like to recognize you at this time. Stand up. Thank you so much. These two young ladies will do great things in life. Martha is going on to UT Austin and plans to study business. And Hazel is also going to seek post-secondary opportunities in the area of business as well. And these young ladies have so much ambition, poise, and character that I just look forward to the great things that they're going to do when they leave us. Thank you, girls. Don't stand right over here and we'll get pictures in just a second. Our next award winner was our Citizenship Award winner, and this was Miss Carrington Jones. Come on up, Carrington. And Carrington was on our volleyball team, so her volleyball coach wrote something as well as her English teacher. So I'm going to start with her English teacher, Mr. Duffy, said Carrington's source of leadership comes from the respect that she shows those around her, especially her teachers. Her peers cannot help but notice that she is the kind of young woman who takes responsibility for her own actions and does so with a big smile and boisterous laugh. Even when things get hard, she never gets down or gives up, and that is a contagious trait inherited by those lucky enough to know her. And her volleyball coach had this to say: if you have ever had a conversation with Carrington, you know she's going somewhere in life. Volleyball is her passion, and she loves her mom. What many of you may know is that she was the volleyball team captain, is the reigning MVP of the LE volleyball team, a team she led to the playoffs for the first time in 12 years, MVP of District 14-5A, in which she led every statistical category but one, and a D1 commit to Texas Tech. Although her accolades in sports speak volumes for the caliber of player that she is, it doesn't touch the person and leader she has become. What you may not know is Carrington strives to be the best she can be. She makes everyone around her better, and she holds herself and others accountable. She does this effortlessly by building relationships with people out of genuine care and the desire to see those around her be successful. Servant leadership is something that has been instilled in her through her close relationship with mom and her family. She is on the Student Athletic Council, has been a speaker in our success class for freshman athletes, and has left a footprint not only in athletics, but within Little Elm High School. Carrington leaves big shoes to fill, but she leaves our school with the tools to be successful, not only at Texas Tech, but in life. And Carrington's mom is here, and she is also an employee, Coach Kim Oliphant. If you'll stand and let's thank you. Thank you. There. Shane, come on up. And our last senior that we're going to recognize tonight is Shane Rhodes. Shane received the Principal's Award for Spirit, or what we call the Heart of a Lobo Award. And this is what a teacher wrote about Shane and his leadership in the area of spirit. Shane shows lots of school spirit. As a member of Wolfpack, he was always working to increase our student body participation as he led by example. Whether he was at a pep rally, on the sidelines of a game, or in the hallway, Shane's enthusiasm and Lobo pride showed others how to positively support and represent our school as a Lobo. He exemplifies what it means to have and show spirit for our school. Shane will be attending Stephen F. Austin in the fall. And and Shane's parents are also here. If Mr. and Mrs. Rhodes will stand. Oh, thank you. Tony's going to take a picture in just a minute, but no, come on up, Tony. This group really represents this class. We really have a lot of great kids, and they're going to be missed. They have left a positive imprint on the campus, and they are all leaving big shoes to fill. So I thank you for letting me take a little bit of time to introduce them to you tonight.
There you go. All right, here we go. I'm gonna grab a couple. And hang on, I was told to take a picture of these two.
Get the names right.
So I can get the names right. Thank you, guys.
Oh, we need another picture. Hold on. Absolutely.
And while you're taking that picture, I want to congratulate these students and echo what Mrs. Pentecost said. These are a great representation of the students we have here in Little Elm ISD. So congratulations to the four of you. And I know you guys will do great things as you move on. So thank you so much for what you do for Little Elm ISD, and good luck in your future.
One, two. Got it.
Okay.
Guns up, please.
Oh
my gosh. Okay. All right. Here, I got to go. I'll go. Okay, ready?
Sure. Got it?
One,
All right.
two. All right.
All right. There we go. That's right. That's right. Represent.
At this time, I would like to ask our Deputy Superintendent, Mr. Ross Roberts, to come up to the front to discuss and recognize our ALI participants.
Thank you, Mr. Gallagher. Good evening, Board of Trustees. Thank you for this time. And I have the distinct honor of talking about these incredible groups of employees that we have that have decided on a commitment level that is pretty incredible, and people that we really believe that have stepped up and really bought into the system of building and increasing our leadership capacity within the district. So it's an incredible honor for me to get to talk briefly about this group. And like I was talking to them earlier, just a second ago in PL2, we do many things and we have opportunities at times to share incredible information. And this is one night that we get to actually kind of live through them and get to work alongside and share this incredible night of recognition and just to celebrate the appreciation we have for this group. A couple of things before we get to the recognition and handing out the certificates along with our nice gift that we have for each of the participants. A couple of statistics that we have for our program. And, you know, our vision in this is to build a group of people that are like-minded and build that leadership capacity within our culture and build a group of leaders that can go out on the front lines and really sell and market and tell our story for Little Elm ISD. And I really believe that these people have bought into that and they do that. One thing that we are very proud of is that we have 93 participants in ALI 1, 2, and 3, which is an incredible amount of leaders, and we hope to grow that even to a bigger number next year. Our ALI 2 group that we had in session this past year is the group that Amanda and myself have been with from the start. And so we are incredibly connected to that group because they've been with us from the inception. And this is our first year
for our ALI 3 group. And our ALI 3 group was a group that we put through the program that really, the focus of that group was to have job embedded experiences. And we did a lot of online electronic type exchanges with their sessions. And so there was a little bit of a learning curve for us, but it was great nonetheless because we got to spend time with those incredible leaders. I will say, and I've been wanting to use this, but I haven't had the chance until tonight. And we do know that 2 to 3 weeks ago, Jason Witten retired from the game of football. And I think everybody in here knows who that is, one of the best tight ends to play the sport. And his retirement speech was very touching. And he talked about basically that the secret is in the dirt. And the way that I interpret that really explains kind of the group of leaders that we have in the audience. And I interpret that as someone that makes a difference, someone that leads forward, someone that is on the cutting edge and really steps out there, is someone that is committed to the time that they need to put in to always grow and to always learn. I think it always exemplifies someone that perseveres. I think it's someone that possesses determination. And last but not least, I really interpret that secrets in the dirt by really thinking that it is a leader that pays attention to detail. And so that's how I interpreted kind of that part of his retirement speech that really was touching to me. And I think it's a great example of the employees that you have sitting in front of you and who we are here to celebrate tonight, being a part of the Aspiring Leaders Institute. So with that being said, I would like to ask Board President, Ms. Myers, if you will step up, as well as our Superintendent, Mr. Gallagher, and they will be in the middle here. And participants, as we call your name, you can kind of I gave them instructions beforehand. But I'm going to go ahead and go through the instructions again. Just come up, hand these, and then we'll go in front, shake hands, and then we will meet in the back on the tile. So our ALI 1 group, I left this out and I forgot. This is a big piece. Back to the commitment. Every participant in our ALI 1, 2, and 3 group will present and share information at our Learning Summit in the summer. So we're very pleased to share that, and we're very thankful that they stepped out to do that. That's a big thing to share. No, they're going to stand back there in the back, and then I think I told them that we will give them instructions from there. Correct? Okay. Hopefully we can take a group picture. Yeah. Dr. Tipton saved me there. We'll take a group picture and then we'll have them sit down. So ALI 1 group, Sheena Andrews, Michelle Bayette, Darcy Brodsky, Vanessa Del Valle, Tiffany Duckworth, Jennifer Everman, Marta Flores, Kristen Fox, Brandon Freer, Hannah Guidry, Elena Hadaway, Sarah Head, sorry about that. I was going a little too fast. Well, we'll get our rhythm in just one second. Yeah. Clifton Hellis. Rhonda Holmes. Amber Hughes, Crystal Ince, Amber LaRue, Tiffany Lehman, Ashley Measles, Richard Mendez, Vanessa Moya Alfaro, Kim Northcutt, James Olinsky, Angela Ouellette, Debbie Presley, Lucretia Robinson, Nick Rodriguez, Michael Sane, Jennifer Sterling. See, what the issue is now becoming is that we're wanting to talk and spend a lot of time over here.
We're about people. We're about people. We are a family.
Everybody matters. It is about people. Jennifer Sterling, Tina Trimble, Jennifer Tufts, Katie Weir, Nicole Wilson, Crystal Woods, and that, ladies and gentlemen, is our ALI 1 group. How about another round of applause? Did I miss one? What's that? And Nikki Coker. Sorry, Nikki. Now, Dr. Tipton is going to take a picture of ALI 1. Oh, hold on, Tony.
Hold on, you got one more over here.
Hang on, there's one more coming.
She went the wrong way. Yeah, we have 2 and 3. We had all their names crossed off, the ones that were here, and a bunch of them came in late. Congratulations. Thank you, ALI 1. Okay, moving along. ALI 2 group. We have Shelly Alley, Faiza Bashir, Nicole Bill, Keisha Brown. You just have one. Andrea Bonanen, Manuel Castillo, Danny Cogno, Deborah Devrich, Amy Guidry, Jennifer Gwynn, Crystal Horn, Alicia Jackson, Keith Jackson, Hannah Kim, Julie Conkler, Heather Kramer, Chad Leslie, Becca Lewis, Janelle Mandalay, Ruth Morales, Lori Ann, what? Oh, Madeley, sorry. What did I say, Mandalay? Lori Ann Knorr, Dominica Fan, Kylie Robinson, Joy Sanchez, Tina Scott, Nigel Smith, Tammy Solinsky, Michelle Sparks, Brian Swinney, Tina Tipton, and James Whipple. Round of applause for our ALI 2 participants. Thank you, Dr. Tipton. Another round of applause for our ALI 2 group. ALI 3, we have Pamela Anderson, Gina Armstrong, Laura Ballinger, Kelly Byer, Shauna Bhattacharya, Sean Coffey, Michelle Gentry, Chelsea Guerra, Kevin Hamlin, Ronnie Harden, Melissa Heckman, Adrian Hopgood, Denise Jensen, Melissa Love, Polly Lucas, Erica Malcolm, Tamara Martin, Marcus Mintz, Scott Perry, Lester Pierre, Kimberly Smith, Teresa Smith, Terry Smith, Jessica Uretsky, and Valentine Cardenas. Ladies and gentlemen, that is our ALI 3 group. Cardenas. Sorry, Val.
I got your back. I got your back.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
You think it's fun. I'll talk to you afterwards.
Wish we would have gotten a picture of them.
Mr. Roberts, while they're taking a picture, I just want to say congratulations to all of the participants. And one thing that sticks out in my mind, as you were mentioning, we have 93 participants, I believe it was 93. That's approximately 10% of all of our employees in the district. And I think that says a lot that you're committed to this, and it really is helping our district step up our game, because all of you with your leadership experience, leadership knowledge, your focus on the classroom, on instruction, it really is helping all of us, helping the whole district to improve. So I applaud you, I thank you, and we're excited about continuing this process and program. So thank you all very much. Also, thank you to Mr. Roberts, also Amanda Ball, and Dr. Glover and Dr. Tony Tipton. They all have stepped up to really participate in this program, and we're very, very proud. I can guarantee you most districts, neighboring districts, do not have 10% of their employees participating in a program like this. So I'm very proud of y'all. Thank y'all very much.
Thank you.
Gee, love y'all too. After everything we've done for you.
I'm going to wish y'all have a great evening.
Come back and see us. By yourself?
You can scoot over if you want to. Sit by Jason.
He's on Survivor Island out there.
All right, at this time, we will move on to citizen input. Ms. Padilla, do we have any tonight? Okay. Thank you. Okay, at the time, we'll invite Ms. Corinne Fierro up. You will have 5 minutes to present your item, and we'll kind of keep a timer for you. Please go ahead and state your full name and your address.
Sure. Corinne Fierro, 2721 Stallion Drive, Little Elm, Texas, 75068. Good evening, President Myers, Mr. Gallagher, and members of the Little Elm ISD Board. I would like to reference an excerpt from Board Policy BE Local, which discusses the minutes. Board action shall be carefully recorded by the appointed designee. When approved, these minutes shall serve as the legal record of official board actions. All readings, materials, and minutes shall be preserved according to the standards of professional records management and applicable law. The written minutes of all meetings and workshops shall be approved by vote of the board and signed by the board president and secretary of the board. This policy happened to be reviewed and approved unanimously at the March 26th board meeting, the same meeting that the minutes from the February 19th board meeting were approved with the corrected typo. The corrected typo was never identified at the meeting, nor is it reflected in the minutes that were finally posted to the Little Elm ISD website on April 9th. Unfortunately, the February 19th meeting contained 3 typos that I was aware of. Being curious on which of the 3 was corrected, I reached out to district leadership on March 29th for clarification of the correction made, as well as some other questions I had from the March 26th meeting. While the other questions were answered, the corrected typo was not, but rather a question was returned to me asking me to identify the typos. I respectfully indicated that I would refrain from identifying the typos until I knew which one had first been corrected. The evening of April 9th, after minutes had been posted, I saw that it was the vote on action item A pertaining to the number of votes cast to pass the item that was corrected. I then shared with district leadership the 2 additional typos. To this day, these 2 additional typos in the legal record of official board actions have yet to be corrected. Furthermore, the minutes from the March 26th meeting reflect that the regular board meeting minutes of February 19th, 2018 were approved as submitted by a vote of 6-0 with 1 abstaining. As previously stated, we know they were not approved as submitted. And on a side note, as of 5:30 this evening, the minutes from the March 26th meeting, which were approved at the April 16th meeting, have yet to be posted to the Little Elm ISD website. I can only assume that parents and the general public go to the district website to stay abreast on the happenings in our district, since the attendance at the board meetings is so sparse. Thus, wouldn't we want the information posted and contained on the website to be correct? I will conclude with this thought. If, as a district, we are willing to be ambivalent for the accuracy of the legal record of the board actions, what else in our standards of professional records management and applicable law are we willing to ignore? Thank you.
At this time, is there any additional citizen input? No, okay. All right, we'll move on to reports of the superintendent.
Thank you, President Myers, board members. At this point, or at this time, I would like to invite Mr. Ross Roberts up again to the podium to discuss something we're very excited to announce, and we're really, really excited about this opportunity. Another great opportunity for our students, and I will let Mr. Roberts, I won't steal his thunder, so I'll let him discuss this.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Gallagher, Board of Trustees. Good evening. Thank you for this time. We are extremely proud, and I'm excited to stand in front of you this evening to share a quick snapshot of what we are continuing to do, and that is to create opportunities and experiences for our students within Little Elm ISD. And as a healthy organization that you saw from Dr. Fairman and other organizations, we are constantly looking for ways that, thank you very much, ways that we can get input, we can get feedback, and what a better way, there's not a better way to do that than through student voice. And so we have created what we are going to refer to as Accelerate. And so you can see our logo here, and I will get into the logistics of what we will have built, created, and up and running for the fall of the 18-19 school year. So I want to tell Casey Bain, thank you very much for creating this logo. We're very excited about, and it's a great opportunity for our kids. This student leadership group ties nicely into our college career and life ready charge that we have already shared with you. And it fits and folds nicely under the umbrella of that as we are preparing students for life outside of Little Elm ISD, not just to sustain and to get along, but to excel and accelerate once they get in life outside of Little Elm. So we are going to take a group of juniors and seniors next year. We have already identified right at 37 students, and we will place them, and we went and found them in our CTE courses, and the students that are in those practicums or have that capability of going into those practicum areas. And so to get our program off the ground, we are going to have them, once they come to Zellers and once they are part of our Accelerate group, which we have an application, they have filled that out. We have teacher recommendation forms, which teachers have received those, and they are in the process of completing that as we speak. They will be placed according to their interest. And one of the three pathways that we have is leadership and learning. We have one built for creative, and then we have one built for business and marketing. What we see for leadership and learning, we see young men and women able to work alongside of our curriculum department and actually vetting exemplar lessons. In creative business marketing, we see young men and women that have an interest in digital what's the word that I'm looking for? What's that?
Digital arts.
Digital arts, media arts, looking at revamping and looking at some different activities that some of our principals or some of work that we have within the communications department, as well as the business and marketing. Maybe we have young men and women that want to spend time with our business services and actually get with Mr. Anderson and work alongside of them. So again, it's ways that we hear from our students and we get their input to actually help us solve and create solutions to some of our everyday problems. This gives you an idea of where we are looking at their workspace, which is in PL2. This gives you a diagram that we are looking at flexible seating. We're looking at movable partitions so that our students will come to Zellers that are in the Accelerate program. There to the right, we'll actually have workstations set up where they can run programs for graphic designs, things of that nature. And then over to the left, there'll be areas where they can collaborate and problem solve along with leadership of the district. That can all be moved. That can all be readjusted. That can also remain there with, if you look at the top part of PL2, we can actually have adult learning and professional learning going on in that section. What we're thinking about doing is actually creating an environment that is similar to the two new middle schools coming online, where there's flexible seating. Everything's built for collaboration and teamwork, and that's what we're looking at doing for our Accelerate students, and that's where they'll be working every day. We have an AM session and a PM session, and we have two instructors that luckily had some time within their schedule that they will actually come over and be teachers of record, and they can actually help these students create, which is very exciting. We have a video that we will show outside of this PowerPoint, but I wanted to wrap up our portion of that. I wanted to bring this exciting program, student leadership group to you and share our ideas and let you see what we have in store for our kids. And it'll be up and running in the fall of 18-19. Cecilia has put together an incredible motivational video that we'll show. I think Mr. Gallagher has something to say.
Yeah, as always. What I was going to say about this, what is so awesome about this is it really takes the idea of student interns and internship, raises it to a whole new level. I want to thank everyone who was involved in this. I know, Mr. Blackwood, you actually visited another district who's doing something similar to this, along with Cecilia Jones, with Ross Roberts. I think we had Miss Pentecost, I believe, went.
Amanda, Miss Pentecost. We also have Ryan Contreras.
Yep. And I'm not sure if Dr. Tipton went on that trip or not, but one thing I'll say is Dr. Tipton has done a phenomenal job of working on externships and really getting our students out and about. And we did for a long time, we said, why can't we do something internally? And then when Miss Jones and Ross Roberts, when they discovered this kind of concept, we just said, run with it, jump on it, because there's no better way, in my opinion, to give internship opportunities than in-house. And what this does, not only gives opportunities for students to participate, but it gives them a voice. It allows us an opportunity to listen to students. I mean, can you imagine what it's like as a curriculum coordinator, having a high school student sitting right next to you, vetting lessons and really giving their input about that? It's going to be powerful, and I think this is going to be a game changer, and I'm super, super excited about it. So with that, I'll let you show the video.
Yeah, and so at this time, we have a video that we'll show you. It's about 30 seconds long.
What is accelerate? By definition, it means to cause faster or greater activity, development, progress, advancement. That's exactly what we want to do through a student leadership program called Accelerate. Beginning in the fall, design new resources to solve problems, and help lead our district to a brighter future. Accelerate, advancing student voice to the next level.
That's awesome, and I know you heard that too as well.
I was gonna say, that was the next level right
Yeah,
there.
we
We
wanted to
just
get our point
experienced it.
across. Are there any questions?
I do, just, the format of it. I mean, is it like an electives portion of the day? Is it after school hours? I mean, is this replacing all their time at the high school? Like, how does it logistically work?
It's juniors and seniors, and so there's some time that they have free within their day. And so we will coordinate the AM group, which will be for about a 2-hour window, starting around about 9 to 11, which is kind of around the teacher's time that will be able to get there to help them create. And then there's another group of kids in the afternoon that will start at 1, and they'll go from 1 to 3. But it's the older students that are on track that have had those practicums and they have that time built in their day where they have some open slots.
Is this one where you say 37, were all 37, that's all we had, or we kind of interviewed and narrowed it down from 50 to 37? That's
where we started from, just to get it off the ground.
Okay.
And we kind of interviewed and we looked at those kids that, have that time freed up in their schedule. We have, like, for example, we have three students that were already coming over to be interns with our communications department and Dr. Tipton.
Okay.
And so those kids, we kind of tapped on the shoulder as saying, you're already coming over here for that intern. Why don't you come and be a part of our Accelerate group? So that's why we started it there, so that we can
Also,
and we'll have some speed bumps that we've got to take care of along the way, trying to get it up off the ground.
one of the things too, I want to add on is we do plan on expanding this
Absolutely.
and expanding it to other departments. For example, HR is a department that I can envision getting students involved in. Think about how powerful it would be to have a student on the interview panel when we're interviewing for a principal. Anytime we can get students, get their input, but not just their input, but give them something that they can learn and something that will help them on their resume.
That's right.
So we're really excited about this and just the potential opportunities. Our goal, number one goal, is to get it off the ground this fall and then add on and build into it as we develop it.
And Mr. Gallagher and I both have been a part of superintendent advisory groups where the number of kids are limited and it's only at certain campuses, so on and so forth. This is a way that we can build on that and increase student voice. And like Mr. Gallagher said, once we get it up and running, we are looking to expand it as far as kids and build the program. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, not necessarily a question, but basically just comment on this one. I'm very excited, just so the rest of the board knows, we actually went and visited the other district on April 24th. They were very excited because when they put theirs in place, they got the idea in February and pushed it out by the end of May. So we've done this since April 24th. They put this in place. So basically put an entire program in place in a month. So I really have to give a very big thank you and to the staff that has put this together in a month's time. Found the students, interviewed them, found the people that can run the program and everything. So thank you very much. As a trustee and for the board, what I would like to see is still eventually take this to the next level, kind of one of the things that I'd originally talked about. Let's see how this goes for about a year or so and look at that. But then as we see the program grow and as we see other things we can do, these students can do, then perhaps we as a board could then recognize that and potentially then start inviting them into our world as an extension to this program. Kind of one of the original things that I'd talked about. Another function I'd like to see that I'd talked to you about, Ross, is maybe could we also take this from admin back to the campus level to give more kids an opportunity, maybe working there at the school in the offices and with the administration at the school level and campus level, or working at different campuses, maybe at the new middle schools, or going and working at some of the elementary schools and just with the administration there. There's obviously the limits on this are whatever the mind can think of.
That's right.
So I really do, again, I appreciate the opportunity that the administration was willing to listen and did come up with this. And you do have a supporter 100% wherever this happens to go. And if you ever need help from the rest of the board, I promise you, I'll beat them with the stick until they agree to help you guys out, so.
Well, we appreciate that support, and definitely, like you said, as we get this foundation laid and kind of pave the way, the sky's the limit, kind of where we go with that. So really looking forward to kind of how it kind of spins into whatever it makes. Any other questions? Great video. I know that's exciting. Really appreciate Cecilia. She put that together in, I think, just about half of a day. It was really awesome. So, yeah, great audio. But we're excited. I think it's a great opportunity for kids. So thank you guys for your support.
Thank you, Mr. Roberts. At this time, I would like to invite Dr. Ashley Glover up to give the update on our strategic plan.
Good evening, President Myers, Board of Trustees, Superintendent Gallagher. I'm here to give you a brief update on our strategic plan, Destination 2020. And when I was going over some of the different components, I realized that when we started this strategic plan, I was part of it in 2015, and I remember thinking, that is so far away. Or not. Here we are. We're halfway through 2018, and so something that it kind of showed me is these incremental steps that we take make the big impact over time as it goes by. So I want to jump right in and talk to you about the 4 different areas for our goal categories: teaching and learning, career and technical education, recruitment, retention, and engagement, and communication and community partnerships. So the first slide that you see here is going to be the dashboard for our quarterly reviews. A plan is only as good as we revisit it, readjust, and see where we are and where we need to go. So in your board book, you're able to go ahead and click on that and see line by line those things that we've looked at every year and even quarterly from 2015 through this school year and then going forward, and also who they're assigned to for accountability. And then we have Dr. Mecca, who was originally going to present this, did a great job. She put in this screenshot for everyone to see. You can see over here, as I mentioned, who it is assigned to, and some different action plans and steps within each strategy within each goal. So the first one is going to be our recruitment, retention, and engagement. Goal 1 for this particular area is LEISD will commit to engage in recruitment and retention practices, and it will ensure each employee is well matched to expectations in their role and in the district's core values. So one chosen strategy to report on this evening for this particular area is strategy 3 for creating and implementing with fidelity standard operating procedures for recruitment and onboarding of new employees. Part of the action plan 2 is to develop a targeted marketing campaign. You may have seen many of the wonderful things that our Human Resources and Student Services Department has done in order to really attract some incredible employees. And that includes Human Resource Services personnel with campus principals and teachers participated in job fairs at 16 different universities. Teachers Hosting Teachers has received 2 requests from student teachers for fall 2018, and we have 2 teacher hosts prepared to accept those new student teachers. As you may recall, Ms. Epps, who would be able to share much more information with you on this, Teachers Hosting Teachers, an opportunity to really draw in teachers from outside the Metroplex area and have our teachers that are currently here really provide them with some embedded support and training. And then also in Action Plan 3, we'll maintain and improve the district's teacher mentor program, and that has certainly happened. Successful implementation of training of 40 mentors for new and new to the district teachers. The second area is the communication community partnerships, and the goal was to effectively communicate with all stakeholders. Strategy 2 is broadcast the successes and great stories that we have here in Little Elm ISD. Something that Dr. Tipton shared with us and that we know is our Realtor promotional event this past February. Approximately 100 realtors who we know can really be the first line for families when they're joining us new to our community. It had 15 sponsors. If you visited our website lately, you know that we are constantly in refinement processes and systems to better communicate. I know Casey Bain does an incredible job along with the rest of communications in making sure that we put our best face forward, as the website is where people go to look at information for us. Publicity Boot Camp, the class for internal stakeholders, how to publicize the great things going on at campuses and in LEISD, and incredible videos that are being produced. I know that tonight's one example of a short video that really shows all of the great things we're doing to communicate with all of the stakeholders as part of this goal under communication and community partnerships. Teaching and learning. The goal that we chose in educational services to share with you tonight is to continue to engage each student in rigorous and relevant learning experiences. Strategy 1, providing specific and purposeful learning, collaboration on rigor, relevance, and learner engagement, which we know is curriculum instruction and assessment, along with really great teaching and taking things to a new level for our students, making them deep learning, making them relevant to the student, both to themselves and in the world, as well as being engaged in the lesson being taught beyond a typical textbook. We have provided and will continue to provide targeted professional learning on high-yield instructional strategies with rigor, relevance, and the learner engagement model. We continue our collaborative instructional review process. This is an incredible process that we do at Learning, not only at Learning for Leaders with all of our principals and assistant principals each month, but campuses do this in order to really calibrate and be able to support teachers on helping produce rigorous, relevant instruction for our kids each day. We've identified areas for growth and collaboration based on our commitment to excellence review process. Along with our Destination 2020 strategic plan, we have focuses, as we reported on to you in previous meetings, where our campuses and our district and our departments, we choose one thing to really focus on. The goals that we have within our strategic plan have helped us define what those are. And so it's really been a great hand-in-hand process. We also continue to support our cornerstones of instruction, which are, again, rigor, relevance, and learner engagement, as well as professional learning communities, where we ask ourselves, what are our students learning? What do they need to learn? What things do we need to do differently in order to help them achieve more, to achieve better, and to learn for themselves? So we're very proud of working through these different steps within this goal. And our final area is our career and technical education, where we want to continue to offer a broad range of relevant pathways, life experiences, and career opportunities. I know today that I asked Ryan Contreras, I said, can you print off the latest? I always have to say that, the latest of our pathways, and he prints off all of these pages that both he and Dr. Tipton over time have developed, and it is an incredible thing to witness, especially having, as I have previously mentioned, children that go to school, 3 of them that go to school in our district, and looking at those pathways and thinking, yes, these are some great choices. So something that they wanted to share this evening was to actively recruit students at all levels for enrollment in CTE programs. Some 8th grade student meetings were hosted before Chart Your Course to promote the event and prepare middle school students for endorsements and pathway discussions. That is our premier first time out. Look at these great opportunities that you guys have that we can really help you look at what you're interested in and build the type of future that you want. We participate in Career Week, along with some great college readiness activities with Ms. Brown at both elementary and middle school levels. And then we share student work and demonstrated knowledge and skills in CTE courses during Chart Your Course. And so this is just a touch on some of the updates that we have with our Destination 2020 strategic plan. And our next steps, we continue to evaluate, revise action steps of the strategic plan and implement quarterly district level reoccurring strategic goal meetings. As I mentioned, these plans are only as good as the action that occurs because of them. And so we really like to look at all of the plans that were implemented in 2015, 2016, how they've grown. And one of the best feelings that we discovered at our last meeting was the things we've achieved. when we look back and we see in the previous school years the things that we've achieved based on our previous goals. So that was a great experience for us. What questions may I answer for you this evening?
Yeah. I did have one question real quick.
Certainly.
I know with the PLI and the folks we had in earlier tonight, that's a big part of this program and everything, especially with the part of the recruitment, retention, engagement, and, you know, in promoting leadership within the district. I just kind of want to echo one question I've kind of previously asked regarding this, the PLI and other opportunities. What are the opportunities that the district is doing to reach out to non-education staff, such as the office staff, such as paras, operational management, child nutrition? Are they being given the same opportunities to participate in these programs?
They absolutely are.
Okay.
We actually have in our ALI 2 in the last session who you guys actually one in ALI 2 and one in ALI 3. We have our director over maintenance and grounds. I don't want to embarrass him, but he does a great job. It's Danny Cogdell. And we also have Irene Bugsby, who is in our child nutrition program. Bagby. She's in our child nutrition program, and she does a fantastic job. Really, when Mr. Roberts, Mr. Gallagher opened this up, it was not, hey, if you are a classroom teacher interested in leadership opportunities, it was, hey, family, if you're interested in leadership opportunities, join us. And they've chosen to do that. We also have other individuals who are behavior specialists, licensed school psychologists, and so we do have opportunities for everyone to participate.
Is that being promoted at the campus level? That there are the campus staff that is going to these people and telling them, if you want to participate, you are more than welcome to?
We promote it, ALI, for everyone.
Okay.
So there is, at no point is it ever directed at just a certain group of folks. We want to make sure that everyone has the opportunity to do so. You may have noticed we also have individuals within the Educational Services Department who don't even reside on a campus necessarily, but really want to grow in their leadership and their learning. And as Mr. Gallagher said, Mr. Roberts and Ms. Ball have really done a great job in leading that up.
And as we take them through that program, 1, 2, and 3, we give them scenarios and we give them information that they can creatively transfer just as an overall leader in whatever role that they're in.
Yeah.
And so as we put them through that, we keep that in mind, and we take whoever wants to be a leader and step up, we take them.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
The only question I had, and not really a question, I think we had talked as a board a while ago as far as adopting or readopting the strategic plan or this Destination 2020 each year.
Okay.
I would love to see if we can kind of re-engage that, where yearly we're getting an update like this, but also being able to, as a board, readopting if there's changes made to it, or if maybe, you know, especially since we're getting close to that 2020, I know there's going to be a time where we need to reevaluate, do maybe another committee or whatever the case is. I just wanted to put that on your radar.
Absolutely.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because that was one of the things that we talked about with the small group when we went through and really looked at where we were. We are close to 2020, it's 2018, and we're at the point now we wanted to make sure that we are still on this, measure where we are, see what we still need to work on. But that will be coming, and I think we're going to be talking about this in our workshop coming up. So it's one of our plans as far as it may not be Destination 2020. It may be, we may come up with another name, 2025, something 2025.
Pardon me.
Yeah, go ahead.
And President Myers, something that's important to us is that we maintain the goals, the original goals from that 2015, 2016 committee, but also maintain updates as our district has grown and as new challenges have come our way and as we've completed some of those original goals. So it was a good hybrid of what was originally developed, as Mr. Gallagher said, and the needs we have right now and the things we need to do to continue to grow.
Yeah, because I could absolutely see where we were in 2015 is not where we are today.
No, ma'am.
And so definitely those updates or those revisions or just additions. Maybe there's something new that some department says, you know what, we haven't thought about this, but we want to add it to it, then we can readopt it each year and we have visibility into that.
Absolutely.
I just want to have input on that as well. Beyond the actual specific goals, just what metrics we're tracking to ensure that we're meeting those goals. So if we can potentially surface those metrics that we're using, so we can see those on a yearly basis or whatever 6 months basis, whatever we decide on, so that we can understand what the metrics are that we're tracking against. So that provides an opportunity for us to look back over the years. So, yeah.
Absolutely. And something, I went back to a previous slide. This touches on this a little bit for you, Mr. English. Something that we do have that shows a little bit of where the progress is, instead of it being an X like we did it, Go Team, it is more of a IP, it's in progress. It is an ongoing, a completed or not started. And not started isn't necessarily a negative thing. Perhaps it's not time to start that particular thing at that time. But that does give you a better idea of where the district is in certain processes throughout the entire plan.
Any other questions? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. All right, at this time, the board will recess into closed meeting in superintendent's office. Is that correct? Okay. The board will recess into closed meeting in the superintendent's office as permitted by the Texas Opens Meeting Act, subchapter 551.072 and .074. The time is 7:37.
Pappy. Hey, Pappy. Hey, Pappy. Yeah, yeah. I know. He's over.
We will come back to order at 8:40 p.m. Move into action items. First up, discuss and approve amendments to the interlocal agreements with the town of Little Elm and the Colony for the SRO programs, as well as the city of Oak Point.
Thank you, President Myers. In your board book, I have brought to you, and you have in there 3 interlocal agreements, one being with the town of Little Elm, the other with the city of the Colony, and as well as Oak Point. With the town of Little Elm, it is an amendment to our current interlocal, and that is proposing an extra officer as well as a vehicle. The interlocal with the city of the Colony is proposing that we move to, instead of 50% of the salaries and benefits, moving to the 75%. That will bring them equal with the town of Little Elm as well as Oak Point. The interlocal with Oak Point is new, and we are proposing an officer with the city of Oak Point. You also have in your board book a very important document, which is the SRO fees proposed for the 2018-2019 school year. This is a great document because you can see everything is broken down per town, per city. And then the very bottom box, it actually has a comparison to the amount that this will cost the district if passed. And you can see that the last box is proposed versus prior year. And the difference we're looking at is $309,368.10. So overall, looking at the amount of money coming out of the 18-19 annual budget, which is being prepared now, which is going to be budgeted in next year's school budget, is $697,463.14. That's for 8 SROs. And that's for the additional 2 that we're proposing tonight and all of the officers that we already have in our program. Are there any questions?
Do you want to read the recommendation?
Yes.
Okay.
So at this time, the administration recommends the approval of the amended MOU interlocal SRO agreement with the town of Little Elm and the Colony. Also, the administration recommends the approval of the additional interlocal agreement from the city of Oak Point. The administration supports the addition of 2 SROs to increase the safety and security of LEISD students and staff.
I need a motion to approve as submitted.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second, oh, go ahead.
Second.
Any questions?
I do have a question. It's more just if you could, if we have all 8, can you tell us how they're going to be split out and just kind of like how many at the high school, how many at the elementary stuff?
Yes. Our plan is obviously to take, if it is passed, the officer from the city of Oak Point would be placed at Oak Point Elementary. The new Little Elm police officer, if approved, we will place at Hackberry Elementary. So that gives us Prestwick covered with the colony. Then we have a Little Elm police officer at Hackberry. And then our plans, since we are moving towards 6, 7, and 8 campuses when the 2 new middle schools come online, we are moving to that next year at Lakeside Middle School where 6, 7, and 8 is combined, just those 2 locations. So we'll take the officer at Powell and we will move them to Brent Elementary. Then we will have 1 at the middle school. Then we will have 1 at Lakeview Elementary, which is Sergeant Samples. And then we will remain with 2 officers at the high school because of what FBI and what kind of the research shows, you know, with that, with those grade levels.
Okay, so make sure I get that. So 2 at the high school.
2 at the high school.
Okay. 1 at Hackberry.
1 at Hackberry.
1 at Prestwick.
1 at Prestwick.
Okay.
1 at Brent.
1 at Brent.
1 at Oak Point.
Brent and 1 at Oak Point.
Yes, sir.
And Lakeview?
Lakeview, yes.
We got 1 level at Lakeview.
The ones that we won't have covered is Chavez Elementary.
Okay.
And Zellers.
Zellers.
But we have 3 officers within a matter of minutes to Chavez Elementary with the officers at the high school, as well as our sergeant who is housed at Lakeview Elementary.
Yeah.
And then we have 2 within minutes, 1 really very close to Zellers, since we have 2 groups of students here at Zellers.
Okay.
So one positive with our town is proximity.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know, we have police officers, we have our PD within minutes to arrive.
Okay, so with this approval, we'll have 2 at the high school, 1 at Hackberry, 1 at Powell, 1 at Brent, 1 at Oak Point, and 1 at Lakeview with this approval.
So with the approval, we will have, I'll always start geographically.
Okay.
That's how I keep.
Right. That's
So
okay.
with the approval, we will have 1 at Oak Point.
Okay.
1 at Lakeview.
Okay.
2 at the high school.
Okay.
1 at Brent.
1 at Brent,
1 at Hackberry.
1 at Hackberry, okay.
1 at Prestwick.
Prestwick,
1 at Lakeside Middle School.
okay.
Technically, Lakeside can cover Powell, Lakeside, and Zellers per se, because they're
Absolutely.
not necessarily on campus, but he's within a minute.
Okay.
So Chavez is the one.
And then
that
when we
cover.
open 2 middle school, the 2 new middle schools, we will, the protocol that we will have is we will have 1 at those.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
So after this, we'll have 8 officers all total.
That is correct.
So we have 5 now or 6?
So,
We have 6.
We have
We're
6,
adding,
right?
We're adding 2.
We're adding 2.
2 more.
so after these 2, we're still going to need 2 more because we'll need 1 more eventually to get Chavez, to cover Chavez. And then
Zellers.
when the second middle school opens, we'll have to have another colony officer. And then eventually, if we want to have 1 here also, because once the middle school moves, there's,
That's right.
you guys are all by your lonesome over here.
All right.
So if that's something
Yeah.
in the future that the Board of Trustees wants to discuss, that'll be, you know, the avenue that we take.
Okay.
That is correct.
Thank you, Mr.
Just want to make sure we had like Mr. English was trying to figure out the math, of what
Uh-huh.
we would, what's going to be covered and what
I
still
understand.
going
It's
to be
taken
needed.
me
Yeah.
a little, it's taken me a little while too of what we already have in our system and
Mhm.
then what we're
So, and the 2,
adding.
okay, and the 2 new officers, one is going to the high school,
No, sir.
I'll say,
2 new officers, 1 will be from Oak Point and they will go to Oak Point Elementary.
okay, and,
The other one will be from Little Elm Police Department and
Okay.
they will go to Hackberry
okay,
Elementary.
perfect, okay, now I'm good, all right.
And they'll make that determination. We just know that we'll have an officer at those facilities.
Okay. Yeah. And in terms of the percentage going up for in the colony from 50 to 75, is that, did they insist on that once they got visibility to what our agreements were with the others, or?
Yes, I believe so. I believe just kind of them getting knowledge of us in our agreements with Little Elm Police Department as well as Oak Point. They increase that to 75%.
Fair. We get them 9 months out of the year, so it's
Yeah.
75%.
Well, yes and no. I mean, I guess I would like to see if we can work a little bit better deal with both. I mean, even cutting 5% would save some money.
Don't disagree.
That's a good question or a great comment, President Myers. I believe, and Mr. Roberts, you might want to address this, but we've done some negotiating. We've tried, I'll just say that.
Yeah.
Is that correct to say?
That is correct. I didn't know where you were going at first, but we have negotiated and we've worked, pretty tirelessly to look at those options.
Have we reviewed any other districts around the area and what their programs look like from an SRO standpoint and how their towns contribute to their districts?
I think typically the ones that I have looked into, the standard is kind of the 75% agreement. You can look at, I believe there's some districts in the North Texas area that could have an agreement where the town or the city actually places officers there. I guess you could say free of charge. They just put them there and don't charge them. I don't know exactly
I do
how
know.
they came to that agreement, but
Yeah, I know one district in North Texas that the town does cover the cost of the officers being on the campus. And again, every town is different with their budgets and their needs. But typically, the 75-25 is what I've seen in other districts.
I've seen that multiple places as well, where that's the breakdown. And I know, I know for sure Denton ISD has the same agreement already with an Oak Point police officer that is at Rodriguez Middle School for the same agreement and percentages as that.
Okay. Any other questions? All right. Then we have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please raise your hands. Any opposed? Motion carries. Mr. Roberts, I believe you're up next with discuss and approve board policy GKB local and an update to CW local.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, President Myers. What we wanted to do is kind of be proactive and kind of get this in front of you as far as a proposal in terms of updating our board policy GKB. Once we dove into that, looking at sponsorships with facilities and naming those facilities and coming into contractual agreements with possible donors, we found that this needed to include CW local as well. And so what you have there in front of you is GKB, and you can see the verbiage there in red is what we want to propose and what we would ask the Board of Trustees to move on and to approve. A couple of highlights, if you will turn to page 2 of 5 in GKB local. Things that I pulled out for your interest. I know they're in front of you, but all agreements must be in writing. And then also a paragraph, all proposed agreements shall be submitted in advance the office of the Associate Superintendent without exception. If in the opinion of the superintendent or designee, the agreement requires legal review, such review shall be obtained prior to the execution of the agreement. Those were just things that I wanted to present to you, kind of what we're talking about and some of the details. Also, if you will turn to page 4 of 5 in GKB local. I'm not going to read all of those, but those are the specifics to this board policy, which really outline those agreements. Now, moving on to CW Local. Again, we're talking about community relations, advertising and fundraising, naming facilities. If you'll look on page 1, it says regarding the temporary naming of areas such as the athletic field or entrance. These are just examples at the Little Elm ISD Athletic Complex based on an advertising agreement. See policy GKB Local, which we just talked about. And so you have had this and made aware of the contents of these proposed board policies, updated proposed board policies. If you look at page 2, CW Local, named for a major donor. The board shall consider naming a facility or portion of a facility in honor of a major donor. Specific district guidelines shall be developed for corporate or individual sponsorships of schools. The guidelines shall specify required levels of monetary or in-kind donations, as well as appropriateness of the sponsor. We've done quite a bit of research on this and really kind of took a grouping of some of the best verbiage that we found with other districts and compiled this, which will, if moved forward by the Board of Trustees, will allow us the flexibility of going out and looking for a donor to name those facilities.
And President Myers, I asked Mr. Roberts to look into this and to look at our board policy because as of right now, we don't have, we're not in talks with anyone, but if there was an organization, a business company that was interested in purchasing the naming rights of, for example, the stadium, currently we do not have the ability to do that with our current board policy. But what this would do, this would allow for that, for the board, if they choose, if there was a potential benefit to the district, you all then would have that opportunity to approve that.
The administration recommends the board approve GKB Local as well as CW Local as submitted.
I need a motion to approve as submitted.
So moved.
Do I have a second? Any questions to Mr. Roberts?
Yes. So on the selection committee, I was reading through that. What just pops in my head is, of course, if we choose a particular facility that's in the middle of the school district that doesn't represent a particular geographic area, we say in here that we'll have at least 2 parents from the attendance zone involved. Otherwise, I'm assuming it'll just be 2 parents broadly selected. I mean, is there going to be a criteria? If what I'm thinking of, just to be specific, is the athletic complexes that's come up. That's not necessarily an identified zone. It's the whole school district.
Right.
So would we have how would we do the selection committee for that for the parents?
So I would think broadly selected from what I've seen and what I've put together. I don't think there's specific selection criteria for that.
Okay.
I guess to that effect, 'cause I was looking at the same paragraph. It was from the 2 parents from the attendance zone or 2 parents from the district improvement committee. So in that situation where there's not really one zone or the whole district is the zone, does that default us to 2 parents from the district improvement committee, or is that kind of?
The way that's written, that's the way it would be. It would be 2 parents from the DIC. However, that's something we could go back and change.
That's what I was about.
Yeah.
I went and grabbed my pen, and if that's something that is recommended, that's something that we can look at, kind of wordsmithing that piece.
Mm-hmm.
But we're not only stopping at the 2 parents, 2 board members. I mean, this is just that we have to have at least, because that would be, if we're going to add it, you could add at least.
We have at least.
That leads to too much ambiguity, because then that could be, if you have 3 on one and 5 on another and 2 on this one, and what's the criteria for selecting how many people? That's going to raise too many questions. It needs to be pretty much said it's going to be this many, this many, this many.
We can revise the wording and then bring it back at, if that's what you all choose, we can.
So I'm just thinking like, just for the current process we went through most of this, then this would be new. The new language,
So if I'm hearing correctly, just some specificity in that area as far as,
Section, would you?
This is page 2 of 4,
The
the selection
Under the
committee.
GKB.
okay.
Is it page 3?
Two or
On the
four.
local one.
Under selection committee.
So page 2, selection committee.
Ours is two.
Shall be comprised of at least 2 board members appointed by the board president.
Okay, or are you looking at CW, or are you looking at the?
Yeah, CW local.
Yeah, CW local, page 2 of 4,
Yeah,
selection
yours is-
committee.
Mine says 3 of 4.
Okay, well, I'm sorry, the one I'm looking at says 2.
Yeah, it's the same
Yes,
paragraph.
Let me ask a question. So
Page
84,
what's
page
the
84.
division on
Page 84. You want-
The tenant zone, you want to strike that, or would you?
What revision you got? It's on both.
Oh, it's on both.
Well, right now, what this says to me, see what this says to me is it says
Okay.
attendance zone
No, it's on
involved
there
if the
twice.
facility is a school or 2 parents from the district improvement. So what that says to me is, let's take the athletic complex, for example. That means we're stuck into taking 2 from the improvement committee
President Myers, can I
because
make
the way
a
it's worded.
suggestion on this?
Yeah, I'd like to reword it.
Yeah, so here's my suggestion. If, board members, if you agree, if you could make some suggestions, send them to Sonia, email them to Sonia, what you would like to see, we will go ahead and revise it, then we can bring it back at the next board meeting, because the good news is we don't have anything in the works. We just want to get this in our
Let's say
board
if
policy, so
facility
you
is
would
a
have that option in the future.
Yes,
So we're more than happy to do that.
yes.
Okay.
I'd like to do
And,
that.
So if the
and I have
board-
that section marked, so as soon as we get suggestions from the board, I can go straight in there and kind of reword that and work that area.
So at this time,
But, well, I want to, he just pointed out something really good, because if you look at 2 and 3, there's a different criteria for different facilities.
Well, the page 2 is for an existing or new facility. Page 3 is for a portion of the facility. Like if we were just going to name
The
the
field
field
house.
house.
Right.
Yeah, so we need to make changes in both places.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
so the discussion currently is that we will table this at this point in time. Recommendations will be brought back to Ms. Padilla from the board members, and then we'll look at it at the upcoming meeting.
But we do
Does
have a,
everybody agree with that?
yeah, but we do have a motion in a second, so don't we need to necessarily,
At this time, the motion
The
can be
motion.
withdrawn.
motion withdrawn? Okay, I just want to make sure.
Ms. Padilla?
Or does it have to fail?
Yeah, motion
Okay.
table.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion that we table this for review for language in regards to the selection committee.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, any further discussion on this topic? And this will be for GKB local and CW local. Okay. Then all those in favor, raise your hand, please.
To table it.
To table.
The motion is on, currently on the table.
Yes.
Yes.
Just
Table.
confirming.
Yes. Do, any opposed? All right, motion carries.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Roberts. Next one up is discuss and approve financial reports from Mr. Anderson.
Thank you, President Myers and Board of Trustees and Superintendent Gallagher. What you have tonight is the March 2018 financial reports. And some of the notes of the current activity is the financial data presented, again, is for the March ending March 2018. And the budgets include all amendments through May 2018. The estimated fund balance increased is the net of these budget amendments is at $813,861. Some major budget amendments is the increased estimated revenue by $1,536,000. What's been increased is the delinquent tax collection of $470,000. Federal impact aid increased $277,000. SHARs increased $220,000. Interest revenue, $240,000. Penalty interest on tax collections, $150,000. And where we are in the budget process is we've gotten through most of the school year, and we're realizing more revenue than we estimated. This is all non-major revenue, so it does not include property tax collections or state funding. And so these are some other revenues that are being increased at this point in time. And the major budget amendments is increase approximately $722,150. I'm missing a zero, $1,000 for SROs for July and August, and then to add 2 additional vehicles. Mr. Roberts was talking about additional SROs. This is for the contracts that start in July 1. And so we have July and August, some proration, and it's about $115,000, including 2 additional vehicles that we purchased out of this current year's budget. And $153,866 to install additional cameras, key fobs, and video servers at campuses. $170,000 to upgrade existing firewall. $130,000 to install Wi-Fi access at the athletic complex. About $73,000 to purchase additional 2-way radios. $57,000 to upgrade marquee on El Dorado Parkway. And this is a recap of our fund balance, our initial budget in 2017. We passed a balanced budget, and our fund balance prior to tonight is $26.2 million. And again, we're adding $813,000 to our fund balance, which will put it up to about $27 million. And it's decreasing our deficit from $1.5 million to $738,000. These are the financials that we look at every month. Our total estimated revenue in our initial budget was $66.5 million. Our proposed amendments tonight, again, is increase in our estimated revenue, $1.5 million, which will bring us to a $68.3 million estimated revenue. And these are the functions that are coded directly to the campuses. And right now we're realizing about 75% of our appropriations at the campus level. And that has been decreasing a little bit from the initial budget, although the total increase in appropriations is going up about $474,000 in these functions that are, again, appropriated at the campus level. And that 75%, it usually decreases about 3% over the year. And the reason is the way we budget appropriations. Right now, we're increasing our estimated revenue $1.5 million. And if you saw in the appropriations, most of those expenditures are going to summer projects, and a lot of it's the security and the renovations that happen during the summer and during our school year to get ready for the next year's school. And we budget our campuses up front at the beginning of the year. And then if we have additional revenue and experience additional revenue, we take care of some extraordinary items, which we call an above allocation. And this is total of our appropriations. Again, we had a balanced budget, $66.5 million. Our amended budget after the proposed amendments are approved tonight will be $69 million. And a total again of an $813,000 surplus in the amendments, and bringing our deficit from $1.5 million budgetary deficit to $738,000. And this is general fund budget, or general fund budget to actual summary. We've realized 86% of our total revenue and 61% of our expenditures. And we have about a surplus of about $15.8 million. And that's as of, again, March, end of March. Our general fund cash flow beginning $66.8 million. Our net change is about $3.9 million. So our any cash investments, which is reflected in the financials that are the details that were sent to you in the board packet, $16.8 million. Our Our capital projects, we're still recapping the high school expansion of 21.5 million. Right now, we have a balance of 1.1 million. We'll be receiving I'm told that we'll receive our final pay app in the next couple of weeks. In our transportation operation facility, we had an original estimate of $7 million. Year-to-date expenditures, $731,000, which is about $5.9 million, so that's $7 million. But I wanted to update that tonight as the operational facility includes $2,715,000 transfer from the 2016-17 budget. And I'm estimating additional funds of $4.6 million for the project, with a total estimated project cost of about $10.8 million. Will be transferred from the general fund after the board approval of the guaranteed maximum price, which you believe you'll approve in July, or will be submitted to you to approve in July. And the operation facility is mainly being funded out of that general fund. And these are the financials that were included in the board packet. The administration recommends approval of the March 2018 financial reports as presented.
I need a motion to approve as submitted.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion or questions for Mr. Anderson? All those in favor, please raise your hand. Opposed? Motion carries. Discuss and approve Little Elm ISD expenditures over 50,000 summary report.
Yeah, you have the $50,000 summary report for approval. And there's 5 items on it. One is for the vendor named Sterling Associates, $74,000. And this is the digital radios are needed to help staff, administration, SROs communicate. These radios are needed to replace outdated analog radios. And number 2 is Daktronics of $57,000 and install a new high definition marquee on El Dorado inside the existing structure. This will allow us the ability to sell advertising to business on our signs to generate revenue over the years. And Tony Tipton is heading up that project. And CNR for safety and security, and successfully installing camera and key fobs on all campuses for the safety and security of students and staff. And this is a $174,000 expenditure. And then we have 2 portables, one at Prestwick and one at Oak Point for estimated about $325,000 each. And these are a 4 classroom portable will be installed at both Prestwick and Oak Point for next school year. The administration recommends approval of the Little Elm ISD contract summary report as submitted.
Need a motion to approve as submitted.
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Any questions for Mr. Anderson?
I was just on
Ms.
the
Harding?
security. You said the security and key fobs. I know we had already done a lot. Do you have just a few more details on, I guess, where, or is it okay to discuss that security wise?
Okay.
Those details, we wouldn't want to discuss openly, just because of that, just allowing people to know where those are.
Gotcha.
But let me, does this complete the
that's what-
projects? I
sorry.
think that's the question.
Yeah. I
Does
didn't know
this
how to word it.
complete
Thank
the
you.
key fob projects that we've had throughout the district?
Yes, that completes the key fobs. And I know that's, in some areas that'll be ongoing where something breaks down, but we'll replace those.
But the
yes,
initial
that-
install of
The
all.
initial install
okay.
of all that will be completed.
Along with cameras.
Along with cameras, which will be really 100% on all campuses.
Okay.
And
So
they'll
this
be-
finishes it
They'll
out.
be up and running before the start of the school year next year.
Fantastic. Thank you. Thank you.
I'm going to ask the board if you can, if there's a question on the table, let Mr. Roberts answer so that there's not so much discussion going on, please. Thank you. Any other questions?
I guess my question might be more for Rod. The timing of the portables coming into Prestwick and Oak Point, will we be ready for the start of school? Like, do we now have the right timing between getting permitting in the colony and in Oak Point and getting those installed on time?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Lesson learned.
We're
Great.
working through all the municipalities and we've already submitted those for permitting, so we should be good to go.
Any other questions? The only one I had was just on the marquee. Which structure specifically are we talking about? Is it the one by the football stadium?
Yeah, this is the one right in front.
Okay, so it's just redoing that or updated?
Yeah, do you know the extent of the work that's being done on the marquee? Tony?
That's fine. Okay. Something about something that clears it up. Thank you.
It's through
It's going to
the,
look great.
if I'm not mistaken, it's through the same company that Coach Hallett worked with to replace the full school board or scoreboard at the
Yes,
stadium.
yes.
Yeah. So.
Any other questions? All right, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please raise your hand. Any opposed? Motion carries. Discuss and approve the renewing ESC Region 11 interlocal agreement resolution for benefits cooperative.
Yes, Little Elm ISD contracts with Region 11 for our benefits, for employee benefits, and it offers dental, accident, cancer, vision, disability, term life, accidental death and dismemberment, telehealth, and also has flex spending accounts and HSA. And there's no cost to be in this co-op, and they also go for bid for us. So it's incredibly beneficial to our employees and to the administration. Administration recommends approval of the resolution interlocal agreement with Region 11 Benefits Cooperative as submitted.
Do I have a motion to approve as submitted?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Any questions? All those in favor, please raise your hand. Any opposed? Motion carries. Discuss and approve the increase of Little Elm ISD employment healthcare contribution.
Yeah, this year, you saw a worksheet that was done for you and sent in your board packets. And you can see the premiums are, again, increasing on health insurance, and the district has covered in the past the high deductible active care 1 through TRS for the employees. Last year was $351 per month, and it's moving to $367, which is a $16 increase, which is approximately $120,000 increase in our budget to pay for the additional health insurance premiums for the employees. And you can see in the on the worksheet, there's an increase on every insurance, the Active Care 1 HD, the Active Care Select, the Active Care 2, and Scott and White HMO. So with the approval of this, it's that Little Elm ISD is able to pay health insurance for all of our employees at the Active Care 1 HD level. The administration recommends approval of the increase to Little Elm ISD employee health care contribution as submitted.
Do I have a motion to approve as submitted?
So moved.
Do we have a second? Second. Any questions for Mr. Anderson?
Just clarifying, this is the monthly premium or per?
Yes.
Okay. I get paid once a month. Never mind. Answered my own question.
Any other questions? All right, all those in favor, please raise your hand. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
And President Myers, I do want to just take a second to thank the board for that because, again, that covers the cost of insurance at that level for all of our employees. And I know that is extremely meaningful and that doesn't happen in a lot of school districts. So thank you, the board, for doing that for our employees. I know it's very much appreciated.
Thank you, Mr. Gallagher. Next up will be discuss and approve the transportation agreement with Student Transportation of America, Inc., DBA Gold Star Transit, and the Little Elm Independent School District. It's a mouthful.
That is a mouthful. Thank you, Ms. Myers and President Myers and members of the board and Superintendent Gallagher. Pursuant to Texas Education Code, Section 44.031, the Board of Trustees can go into contracts other than construction services and or accept proposals other than construction services. This is for student transportation services. And on March 1st of this year, we did receive and open bids or proposals from transportation services. Based upon the published criteria within that RFP and RFQ, we selected a transportation agreement with Transportation of America Incorporated, or as we all know, Gold Star. And so, so tonight we're asking for our continuation of our relationship with them. It is for a 5-year period beginning August 1st of 2018, and with the option to go additional 5 years after that, so a total of 10. If you look at the price for that, the 2018-19 school year, we're looking at a total price of little over $2.1 million. That's an increase of about $136,000. You can see on your Appendix B, I believe, on that first page of Appendix B, you can see the breakdown of this year's budget. We have a anticipated budget, which is going to come in lower than anticipated, and then a projected budget of that 2.1. If you look on the next page of Appendix B, you'll see the majority of the cost increase is for wages for our drivers. We're going from $16 an hour to $17.50, and that's to keep up with our surrounding districts of Louisville and also Frisco, Prosper, different areas like that. We also wanted to, Mr. Gallagher and Mr. Anderson always asked us to look not only next year or 2 years down the road, but 5 years down the road. So you notice we have an anticipated budget of 5 years. There's 2 sections of that. One is if we own all the buses, that's the top one on Appendix B, and if we have Gold Star owned buses. And so you notice that there is a cost savings if the district owns our own buses. Currently, we own 42 buses and 8 are leased by Gold Star. As part of this agreement, we're looking at getting 2 more buses from Gold Star for a total of 10 buses. And so if we can start to replace those, we do see a cost savings. So you can see that in your appendix. If we do purchase our own buses, you'll notice in Appendix A, that is the blended rate for those owned buses. So if you look in the original contract agreement, you'll see kind of some rates on that. If we do purchase our own buses, it reverts to that blended rate on Appendix A, if that makes sense. And so we also incorporated in that Appendix B a replacement cycle. Currently, we're about in our 4th or 5th year of our buses that we purchased. Remember, we purchased 42 all at once. And so we're about halfway depreciated on those. And so we need to start thinking about replacing those buses to make sure we stay up, to make sure that they're current. And so I would like to also introduce Mr. J.W. Barrett here. He worked with us on this negotiation, so I appreciate his help. He does a lot of work over there as our supervisor of transportation for Gold Star. Not only is our supervisor, I believe he has 3 kids that ride buses too as well. And so there's precious cargo over there too as well. So we appreciate him showing up tonight. So on that note, I'll be happy to answer any questions.
All right, I need a motion to approve as submitted.
So moved.
Do I have a second? Second. Any questions for Mr. Reeves?
Yeah, I actually do have one. On the Appendix B at the top of that section, one that kind of jumped out to me, I know you've got the breakdown of 136,000 at the top of page 2, but at the top of page 1, where I see the big difference coming in, $121,000, is excess hours from 69 up to 290. So excess hours does not, to me, translate into $1.50 wage increase, cost for your 2 new buses, staff monitor wages, and GPS. Can you explain where the difference, those two numbers correlate?
So excess, you gotta remember the excess hours are those anticipated hours that we have. So any hours over 4 hours minimum, we have to guarantee a 4-hour minimum for our bus drivers. And so anything over that, we have those excess hours. And so we kind of anticipate based upon those athletic field trips or those ULL events. And so that's just a kind of a budget number. I will say that we do estimate 2.1. It usually comes in $100,000 under that. We're just doing worst case scenario.
Okay.
So I hope that answers your.
So the increase to 136 includes that. So there's a possibility that that increase could theoretically be wiped out by not having excess hours.
That's correct.
Okay. No.
He's going to start driving the bus.
So I'm just saying.
Always. I know we have some board members that have some band students.
Next year's not a state year, so it
Yeah,
doesn't matter.
that'd be a charter anyways.
But it is a world year for guards, so I'm just saying.
Yes.
If I may also, I want to let you know that for this next school year, we are planning some notifications going out, forward notifications this summer to make sure that we get the word out about transportation. I appreciate, Dr. Glover and also Dr. Micker's help on this because we have a command center set up for the first week of school to answer all of those calls.
Oh.
We will have translators involved with that as well. And we also had pre-registration that's coming up on May 29th through the 31st. And I believe that will get about 85% of our bus riders. And we'll be able to provide bus stop locations to those parents. And then we'll be working with communications to make sure we get that communication out to those that have not replied.
I feel like I somehow sent all my questions to you.
Okay.
That was actually most of my questions, just communication, how quickly, and I'm not even going to pretend to know what it's like to try to set that up or be in that command center. I just know every year it's difficult. Luckily, my kids don't ride buses anymore, so I'm not one of the parents calling first thing in the morning. So I just, sounds like you guys have it under control and you answered all my questions. So thank you guys.
And also
Good luck.
Mr. Clay Walker, I want to appreciate him helping with extra phones and things like that as well.
Fantastic. Thank you, guys.
Any other questions? Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please raise your hand. Any opposed? Motion
Thank you very
carries.
much.
Item H is being pulled from the agenda, so we'll move on to item I. Discuss and approve the construction manager assignment for the new Lowell H. Strike Middle School.
President Myers, trustees, Superintendent Gallagher, good evening. Very quickly, we did have our RFP at the end of last month. We received those from the 3 firms that the board had approved at last month's meeting. We received those and attached in your packet behind this should be the results of those RFPs and how they were compared. It's our recommendation based on that it's our recommendation that we approve Cadence McShane as the CM at risk for the new Lowell H. Strike Middle School.
Okay. Do I have a motion to approve as submitted?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any questions for Mr. Martin?
No.
No questions? All right, all those in favor, please, I'm sorry, are you going to ask a question?
No, ma'am. I said no.
Oh, okay. All those in favor, please raise your hand. Any opposed? Motion carries. Then the same, discuss and approve construction manager assignment for Jerry R. Walker Middle School.
And you have the same results. We're recommending approval of Balfour Beatty as the construction manager at risk for the new Jerry R. Walker Middle School. They did come in as number 1 out of the 3 CM firms. We felt it was important that they be able to stay with the same site where the transportation facility is. We further hope that we'll get A teams for both schools.
I have a motion to approve as submitted.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any questions?
No, ma'am.
My only question was, does it cause any concern to different people working on the same project? as far as middle, there's two different companies with
Two
the
different
two
middle schools, two totally different areas, two different jurisdictions. We hopeful, like I say, we get an A team out of both GCs.
All right.
If you use the same GC, chances are you're not going to get your 18 of those operating.
Possibly. Any other questions? All right, all those in favor, please raise your hand. Any opposed? Motion carries. Discuss and approve job order contract and project budget for security vestibule at Chavez.
In your packet, I included a budget, a total project budget for this, which includes the GMP that is attached from SFCC. And what we're asking for is approval for the entire project budget and acceptance of the GMP from SFCC.
Do we have a motion to approve as submitted?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Any questions?
So just, this, we're talking about Chavez, correct?
Right.
Yes, sir.
And so we did, the proposed is 143, where our budget's 216, correct?
Correct.
So we should come in hopefully under?
Well, the balance of that is soft costs, FF&E, and some other technology.
Okay.
Some things that we do with third party to finish the project.
Okay, so the 143 is just for the actual vestibule to be built?
That is correct.
Perfect.
Top line.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure.
The rest of it is in-house, third-party stuff that we need to finish it.
Thank you.
What is projection date on that?
I'm sorry?
Projected date for completion?
It'll be ready by
First day
fall.
of school.
First day of school for this year,
Yes.
2018, okay.
Any other questions? All right, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please raise your hand. Any opposed? Motion carries. The same thing, discuss and approve job order contract and project budget for security vestibule at Brent Elementary.
I try to make them as simple as possible. This also has the budget attached to it behind the front cover. Total project cost here is $207,071.50 with a embedded GMP of $136,325. Same scenario.
I need a motion to approve as submitted.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, any questions on this one?
I take it the difference in the main cost is just the difference in the schools? Because I saw that little different setup.
There's a little different setup. Chavez, we actually have to redo a fire panel that we didn't have to do at Brent, so that's
Okay.
why it's a little more expensive.
Perfect. Okay, thank you.
Okay.
When these are going in, I'm assuming they're going to start pretty quickly after school's out. Is there going to be alternate entrances? There's still
We've
staff
talked
going
to
in?
both campuses. They do have some activities, some registration activities. They're prepared to use other entrances into the building to be able to do that. We'll actually put up some temporary walls to separate this area from the rest of the school so they can carry on activities as they need to.
Yeah, because that's, you have sports, are there any sports going to be going on at the time? Because I know Chavez
not too
has
much,
that
no.
main interest, which is to the gym, and then Brent has a,
Yeah, they each have side entrances
Yeah.
into the cafeteria.
okay.
Okay. All right, we have a motion and a second. Any other questions? All right, all those in favor, please raise your hand. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. We'll move on to the consent agenda. I need a motion to approve as is. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion, questions? All right, all those in favor, please raise your hand. Any opposed? Motion carries. Comments. So for the board, we've discussed having that workshop in June. Ms. Padilla is going to send out some dates. I'm hoping to figure. Is it already on the 11th? Okay, good. I was getting confused between the other meetings, so, okay. Is it on there? Okay, then I will look. That would be great, because I don't have it on mine apparently.
So June 11th?
June 11th. If you can, and let me look at a calendar real quick. If you can, probably the week and a half before, if you have any other items that you want to be included on there, I would say by like the the week of the 4th, if you can get them in. Right now, what I have tasked for that meeting will be really around board operating procedures, checklist, board calendar, board goals. We wanted to look at board practices. I think we talked a little bit about that tonight, adoption and readoption of the vision statement, district goals. Talk about advocacy. What else? Any amendments that might be needed for board operating procedures. So those are kind of the things I've highlighted throughout the last 3 or 4 months that I've picked up from everybody. So if there's additional ones, please let us know. And then I think, Mr. Gallagher, you'll have a few items on there.
And President Myers, can I ask you to send what you have currently, send those to Ms. Badillo, and then what we can do is formulate those and put those in a, kind of categorize them.
Perfect. Yep. I think we had talked a little bit about doing that team of 8 at the same time. I'm just not sure timing wise if we're going to get that in. Yeah. So
we can at that workshop or before that, we can talk about another day.
Okay.
Maybe this summer to put that together.
Yeah, because I still would really like to do that. We've been a board now for a little while, but it would be nice to do something similar to what we did 3 years ago with it's not an intelligence chart, but it's kind of like a personality chart, or, figure that out. I just did it with my work, and it was very interesting to kind of see how everybody works, and if you're an introvert, extrovert, those kind of things. So if we can maybe put that together. Then the only other item I had was the joint town council and board meeting. I still would like to do that towards the end of June. And I have spoken with Mayor Hillock, and he is on board with it. He has requested that we just work between Ms. Badilla and the council secretary.
Kathy.
Is it Kathy? I was wondering who it was. To set up some dates that might work. I know summer is tough for everybody with vacations, but it would be really nice if as many as we could get to the table.
Well, the end of June is also the TASB training.
It'll be during the week. Is TASB during the week? Oh, okay. I thought it was on the weekend.
Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
That's what I thought.
I thought it was Thursday, Friday, and Saturday.
Well, I'm looking like Monday, Tuesday, something like that.
No, it is Thursday, Friday,
Even if it happened to be the same week of our board meeting, if we had a board meeting Monday and council meeting with them Tuesdays, or something. The goal for that meeting was to start to partner in different areas to really communicate, develop a communication, but it's also to just reflect on the overall town vision, the district's vision, and start really forming that partnership to work together to make it the best town we have and best school district
So
in the
are we
area.
going to do this with Oak Point and get the colony and everybody else involved as well?
It's something we can discuss, I think, certainly. Right
And
now,
that's something we
this has been the
definitely-
requests that we've gotten, so.
And we definitely can work with that. Because I would like to also reach out to the colony and to Oak Point, Hackberry. But yeah,
Correct.
absolutely.
Yep.
And Lakewood Village, thank you. What we can do, because I know we've got some vacations with our admin team coming up in June and in July. I'll get with Ms. Badillo tomorrow, and then we'll set up some potential dates.
Perfect.
The other benefit also working with the town is we can then start working with them, talking to, and basically trying to swoon or whatever corporations are coming in. So we are talking about potential donors, potential this and that. We have that better relationship with the town. We can work with them better on those types of things.
Oh, we got 6 channels, so we're going to make sure we
No.
get them all in there.
I don't know, when was the last time Frisco came to us?
When was the last time you went to Frisco?
I understand. When was the last time Frisco came to any of our residents? So.
All right, so that was.
We always reach out.
Yeah.
We reach out. Frisco and the rest of them.
So I think those were the main items that I had. Just again, congratulations to Mr. English and Mr. Olson for being reelected, and welcome back to the board.
Thank you.
So I'll open it up for comments. We'll start with you, Mr. English.
Okay, well, I want to say congratulations to the district's administration as well as schools on their successful year. we come to a close towards the graduation. So really appreciate all the hard work that went on this year. There's a lot of things that I've heard and happened, and just want to thank you all for everything you're doing, and so the district can keep moving forward. I did have a couple things I did want to present. President Myers, I want to look at potentially if we can start looking at how we define some metrics we use on a yearly basis for the board to review whether that metrics be some of the test metrics, some other type of metrics we have out there, maybe some internal metrics, but we'd like to basically define what kind of metrics we can generate to help us make decisions throughout the year. The other thing I came with is what I've learned through this year is one of the things is Frisco Lakes seems a little bit abandoned by themselves down there. If we can put maybe like a newsletter out, maybe once a year or twice a year, just letting them know about the district and important things that are happening, et cetera, would be extremely helpful down there with them. That was it for me. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Olson?
Not getting away easy this time. Got a couple. No, just congratulations on the Student Leadership Program. That's really exciting. I'm looking forward to seeing how that grows, similar to the ALI, how it's just continued to expand each year. I'm really excited to see how that goes this next year. You know, if anything too, I think one thing we lost in this too is because it's coming close to the year, Chavez left today, go to DI Global in Tennessee. So that's awesome. Hope they have a blast regardless of how they do. Proud of the kids over there. So that's going to be an awesome event for them. And also on that point about Frisco Lakes, the one thing I did think about is I know that generally on Memorial Day, the band goes over there and plays. I think it may be a little too early, what I'd really like to see, because when I was talking with a lot of people, they didn't really, you know, Frisco's done a little bit better job, unfortunately, of marketing their gold card for the community. I really think that's something we need to try to do better of, is marketing that towards them to make sure that they know about that, especially for our theater groups, our band concerts, things like that, that I know, you know, they like to come and see the kids play and perform. That's something we really need to step up on and make sure we're doing that. And it may not be a little too late for May to kind of put out for next year, but if we go out there on Labor Day or something, maybe we can kind of start promoting it.
I'm smiling because the comments that we've heard about Frisco Lakes, and again, it's too late for presentations, but Dr. Tipton and we've already been talking about things that we can do, and we've got some great plans coming up for next year. We already have some dates set up that impact Frisco Lakes directly. And you're correct on Memorial Day. We're excited about that, but in a very near, a board meeting in the very near future, we will present our plans for next year for especially our senior citizens. One of our major events we'll be doing next year. So I'm glad you are bringing that up.
Yeah. And that's all senior citizens. Let me clarify too, for the Little Elm residents too, and Hackberry, Oak Point, Lakewood Village, and Frisco, actually proper. Just making sure I don't leave any of them out.
Anybody in LEI?
That's right.
Mr. Montemayor?
No, I just want to give a general thanks to, all, the administration, both at central office and at all the campuses. I mean, this is, the last week of school that we're in, and, I think it's a pretty successful year. We just keep that up. I know there's a lot of hard work coming in the summer too, so thank you for that.
Ms. Hardy?
I did want to just put on your radar, I don't know, I'd ask for it to kind of review the MOU for the foundation. I just didn't want that to fall off. I think that's all I had. Yes. And then everything, just congratulations, another successful year. Y'all have more days off during the summer than I do, so. Not jealous, I swear.
Mr. Blackwood?
Again, I wanted to express my excitement over the Accelerate program. That is a really big thing for me. I'm also very glad to see the ALI is growing leaps and bounds the way it is. I don't know if you guys have an idea of an ALI 4, but it looks like we've got enough participants where that could be a possibility. I don't know if you want to try and do 4 programs at the same time next year. That'd be kind of fun. For the board directly, basically something that I was very interested in. I've been talking to quite a lot of trustees in other districts. Again, just basically passing ideas off them on different things. It's kind of where the student voice thing that I've been pushing for so long, kind of that's been coming around, and I've been massaging my ideas on that. But there is a Region 11 Board of Directors, TASB Board of Directors position open. I would be very interested in running for that position, and it'd be the first time Little Elm ever put someone up for TASB Board of Directors. And if you guys would be willing to endorsement, because when if someone does become the representative of the district's an automatic endorsement by the district. So if you guys would be willing to put me up for that, I think it could do very, very good things for us here in the district. But on a state level, we could actually start getting some of the things that we're doing out there for people to see and understand. So that is something I am very interested in. That information does have to be turned in by June the 2nd. So it is something that would have to be, it basically just requires board consent. I don't know if it has to be a complete vote, but it just requires the president and superintendent to basically fill out the paperwork and submit it. Everything else is questionnaires that the person has to fill out, that I'd have to fill out. So if you folks would be willing to let me do that and put my name in the name of Little Elm, I would be more than happy to do that. Other than that, that's it for me. Oh, thank you, staff, very much for another very successful year. I'm sorry. By the way.
Mr. Gallagher?
Yeah, just first I want to thank our executive team for staying late. Thank you all so much. Very productive board meeting. I want to thank the board members for really a great school year, and it's hard to believe that, you know, this is it. We've got a few more days till graduation. I'm looking forward to seeing everybody on Saturday at graduation. I was at our baccalaureate celebration on Sunday, and that was a really, really nice celebration. And I want to thank Pastor Mark Farnell and also Pastor James Hutchins for their dedication and just service to the community. They both did a wonderful job, and we had a nice turnout of students, so it was a really, really nice day. Other than that, again, just thank you to everybody who came out to the board meeting tonight. I appreciate you, and it was nice to celebrate our ALI students. So just lots of great things happening right now, but thank you, board members, for staying late, and just, again, hard to believe it's the end of the year.
All right, at this time, I need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor, please raise your hand. All right, we are adjourned at 9:46.